This is the STL010 by Shift Technology Products. It fits the 2014 to, I believe, 2018, maybe 19, the 6L80s and the 8L90s. It's a replacement for the thermal bypass that goes up to 194 degrees on the 8L90s. This gives you an instant fill, and you don't have to get all the way up to temperature when to open it up when you're pulling or whatever, or just cruising around town. I got this one from Global Transmission Parts. I got 2-day shipping. It doesn't say 2-day shipping, but I got it in 2 days, and it was about $50. I can put a link in the description. It comes with the spring. This is the piston here. Little check ball. And the 2 O-rings that go on this bushing. This is the bushing. You'll have the snap ring on top here in your thermal bypass housing. And then this actually goes, this O-ring, smallest O-ring, smaller than those two, goes here on this piston. But let's get to the car, let's get this thermal bypass taken off, and then we will come back to the bench. It comes with very well packaged instructions. It is step by step. I'll try and put it here so you can pause it if you need to. Fan's blowing a little bit. But it is very well written and illustrated. I will actually do I'll put it together here on the bench. A lot of people on the other videos don't show you how to put it together, but I'll show you how to put it together. And if anybody has any questions, comment below. So here's the thermal bypass housing on the vehicle. It's the 8L90. This is a 2018 Silverado. It's 5.3. Mine is a 4-wheel drive. I know a lot of the videos that I've seen with the 6L80s, I don't think I've seen any 8Ls yet, but with the 6s I've seen, a lot of people, obviously I see the correlation, but they don't have 4-wheel drives down south, right? They get hotter down there. But so with the 4-wheel drive, you are going to have this 13mm here. The drive shaft's going to be in the way. I'm sure you could work around it if you had a swivel, but most people don't. So I'm going to take this drive shaft out, not fully. I'm not going to pull it from the transfer case, but I'm going to remove these 11s, and I'm just going to set this up top, and it should give me enough room to get either a side ratchet or just a ratchet in there, bust that 13 loose, and they're usually finger tight after that. And there is going to be a gasket back there, and I'll show you the part number for that too once we get there. All right, let's go ahead and remove these bolts, and then we will pull this drive shaft out of our way. You want to apply thread locker, the blue Loctite thread locker, back to these when you put them back on. Sorry, camera died there. I got the 4 bolts in my saddle straps off. I just moved it out of the way. I just set it right there on top of that yoke, as you can see. And that's going to give me enough clearance to get right there to that 13mm. But first we're going to take off this 10mm, get these lines out of the way, and you're going to see there's going to be 2 little black O-rings, well, 1 per side, 1 on your in and 1 on your out. And then we're going to just pop these out of the way. There's also a clip here. If you need clearance, you can just these pop out while it's slotted. If you really need to, I don't believe you'll need to. And then we can pop that 13 off, remove the gasket, and then we'll go to the workbench. Very short 10 you got there. Our O-rings did stay on here. 1 there, 1 there. We got an oil caddy here. We have an oil caddy here to catch with the drip pan here, just to kind of help us not make a big mess. And we'll see what we can do from here. We're going to take this 13 out. I'm going to use one hand to move this out of the way. Watch out with the catalytic converters, they're warm. Okay, compressor kicked on there, sorry. All right, we got the bolt loose. we'll pull it with the housing together. All right, drip a little bit. Our gasket stayed on the block there. I have had this pan. I did a filter and a temp sensor harness down there on the valve body, but I have replaced this last time I was in here. I moved these lines, so I'm going to replace it anyways. Always a good idea. I'll show you the part number later. Always replace that. The seals are probably not a bad idea to replace either, but slipped my mind I didn't get any here, so we'll take this to the workbench and pull this thing apart. All right, let's see what we got here. This is our snap ring we need to pull off here. Safety glasses are recommended, not required. Do as I say, not as I do. She don't want to come. There we go. A little dirty, it's been in there for a while. Okay. Leave that there. See if we can pop this guy out here. It's gonna get burred up here, but we're replacing it anyways. So here's your old thermostat housing. See the spring in there. If I can focus on that. There's a little clip in there, but we're not gonna mess with that at all. Stump it over. The old spring we're replacing with a new spring. This is our pellet. This is our thermostat that we have in here. Not the greatest idea. Okay. Went and grabbed some trans gel here. The instructions recommend a little dab of trans gel at a certain point here, so let's just start by putting this together first. Putting these seals on. Oh, don't lose that ball. Okay, so let's take your bushing. I got some fluid there, it probably won't hurt. Roll it over the first one, just like on a drum or something, and we'll go to the second one. Roll. Okay, that's where you want these. Take your piston. Take this black O-ring. Try not to lose this ball. I really want to lose it. Okay. Get a little fluid on there. It's not the best idea, but rub it on the dirt. But here we go. Rub it on this one. Or rub it on this one. Slide it over this piston here. And that's set. Okay, so they want you to put this. We'll walk through the instructions here. So after we have the large O-rings, that's step 2, onto the piston. So they want you to insert the piston into the housing. Or we put the large O-rings on the bushing, but the small O-ring goes on the piston. So now we're going to put the piston into the housing. We're going to go face down, and it says right there a little note, a dab of trans gel on the small diameter of the piston will help hold it in place. Okay, so let's go there. So let's just take exactly what they said, a small dab. This stuff goes a long way, really. On the small diameter. And we're going to drop it right into this housing, help it keep it right in place. That's absolutely perfect. Fell right in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't have a light on me, but it fell right in there. That trans gel helps it stay in there. It fits down into that machine surface. Okay, so we want to put, and then there's 2 step 4s, but we're going to go to this step 4 over here. So I want you to drop the ball into the bushing, and then you put the cone spring, you put the small side onto the ball. So let's do that. Bushing. I'm going to drop the ball into the bushing, and it sets. There's also a notch in there. I wish I had my light. And small end down, it emphasizes that, shown in the picture. Small end down. I'm gonna grab a light. I don't know if this helps you at all. See the ball down there? And then you can see that spring kind of sitting there with the big side facing you. I'll show you this housing too. That dropped right in there. Small end down first with a little trans gel in there, helps it hold in place. Probably don't need the trans gel, but it just helps you. Okay. Step 4A, I'm going to call it. It says hold the housing at a slight angle as shown in the picture. Carefully slide the bushing into place over the piston until the O-ring is seated. And it might need a little pressure to get the bottom ring seated. Okay, it seems pretty simple. Kind of at an angle. There she goes, boys and girls. I think we're set. There you go. See that second effort to get the second O-ring passed? Now we're down to our notch. I doubt you can see that notch, but we're down past that notch. We can put our O-ring or our snap ring back in there. And we're good to go back on the car. On the truck, I should say. Though you can get a car with an 8L90 in it. That's all she wrote. I'm going to clean this surface off camera here just with some brake clean and a rag just to get the fluid off, and I'll do the same to the transmission side. But yeah, that was very simple. I think everything went in like it was supposed to. Oh, also, this is the part number for my gasket, for my seal. The one that I pulled off the transmission there. Here's the GM part number for it. Right there. It's 2313 5703. Just real quick, I just wanted to show you that this gasket, this General Motors gasket, is symmetrical and there's no front or back, and the whole, you know, everything's okay, but yeah, it's the same on both sides, so you're not going to put it on backwards. I like to put it on the housing itself, just so you don't have to fumble around with it while you're putting it on the transmission. We'll put these lines back in. GM does want you to replace these O-rings. This is my personal vehicle. I'm not going to. If they leak, then I'm an idiot. But this bracket here, you can see the wear pattern where my 10mm was installed previously. Push this in a little harder. And so that's the side you want. Also, you can have it the wrong direction. If you were to flip it over here, your hole would not line up. But you only have two options, so you will figure it out. You could mark it with a Sharpie before you remove it if you want, but it takes 2 seconds to flip it. Now GM says 16 foot-pounds here on that and 16 foot-pounds here. I can see the 16 foot-pounds here. I really don't think this thing is going to take it's all aluminum. I don't think 16 foot-pounds is going to take that. I know the transmission is aluminum too, but move my card out of the way. All right, so there's 16, and I think I'm just, this is, so when you go down to later on, this drain plug here, well, this check, it's not a drain plug, it's a check plug. That's only torqued to, I believe, 89 or 106 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. So I think I'm going to do the same here and see how that goes. I think that's 16. I really don't see 16 happening there, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, I just don't like 16 there. I'm just gonna stick with the 89 inch-pounds and call that good. That's it. We're done. We need to put the drive shaft back in, and we'll tighten that down, and make sure you put thread locker on those bolts for the saddle caps. And you're supposed to use a wire brush and remove. You can see where the old stuff is still there, but it wasn't touching. So you're supposed to use a wire brush and remove all that, and then add some more, let it dry for like 15 minutes, and then install them. I'm gonna not show you all that. This is about the bypass, and then we will, so this is gonna insta-fill. So as soon as I turn on, the cooler should be going, and we should be able to check our fluid flow from here. And if we're low, then we're gonna have to come to the other side and add some fluid. This does not have a dipstick, so that's a different story we're gonna have to address right when we get there. So I printed this document off. It's the transmission fluid level and condition check from General Motors. It's a GM document, and just want to show you here. It says the vehicle is equipped with thermal bypass, which this one is obviously, and it's going to open at 194 degrees Fahrenheit. And then after it opens, it wants you to shut the vehicle off and let it cool back down to be between 95 and 113 degrees Fahrenheit. But now that we have our insta-fill with our thermal bypass deleted, we can just skip that step, and the truck itself right now should be about there anyway. So we get to just we get to start it, pull the drain plug. I know my truck's not 100% level because I'm on a 2-pole lift, but it should be pretty close. So yeah, we're going to start it, and I'll check temperature. I'll have the MDI on it so you guys can watch it live with me, because you can scroll on your DIC and see there, but it's hard to do both at the exact same time. So I'm gonna pull the laptop down underneath it, and we'll check it from there, and should be out the door. If we need to fill it, then we'll go over the fill procedure as well on an 8-speed. So hopefully right here you guys can see I got trans fluid temp up. I'm wirelessly connected. I'm at 111. Perfect. They want to be between 95 and 113. So we're going to pull the check valve there, and if it comes out, we're supposed to let it stop. If it does not come out, then we still need some. There we go, we're coming out already. I'm going to put it back in just because of the angle that we are at. I don't know, I'm not 100% flat. I'd like to put it on my 4-pole lift over there, and we'll get a better reading, but I think we're going to be okay. Maybe I'll do a level check, which will be on this side over here, in another video. Let me know if you guys need one of those videos. And this torque here is going to be 89 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. And you can clean this off with some brake clean and whatever, you're good. But for now, we're good to go. We're going to go test drive it and see what our temps are at. One last thing. When I finish putting in the drive shaft, I use this 242 Loctite on the 4 saddle straps, or the 4 bolts for saddle straps, and that's, it's recommended, not life or death, I suppose. And with you don't need a lift. And when I said with a level check, I wanted to use the 4-pole lift. It's okay, you can do it on the ground. It's just something level. You don't need a lift to do the job itself. I mean, it's easier. It's not recommended. Same with this. It's easier. But one thing that you do need minimum is this Blue Label Mobile One synthetic LVAT HP. I think I had the part number written down somewhere. I think you can find it on Amazon. Or at your local dealership. Yeah, the part number is a 124715. I can put that link in there as well. Same with this Transgel. It holds that piston and that bushing. Not recommended, but it sure helps, especially you got to tip it sideways there. But I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know about the torque converter shutter on these things. It's a nightmare. I did this, believe it or not, this thing has 142,000 miles on it. I know this thermal bypass delete might be too late, but as long as I've owned the truck, I've had this Blue Label in it, and it is never shuttered on me one time. So This is what GM, the black label does not work. The black label will get you in the same boat you were in, and Dextron will definitely not work. So you have to have this blue label, or I think I've heard guys use AMSOIL. The AMSOIL has one that they swear is better than this one. So I've never run it. I've never run AMSOIL anything, Mobil 1 everything, but that's preference. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll see if I can get them answered. I can get torque specs, whatever you guys need. Any questions? There was a couple questions I'd seen about I'm in Iowa, so people were asking about how this is going to be in the winter time. Do I need, am I going to run the cooler when it's negative 55 degrees outside? This runs off viscosity. That check ball is what keeps you from freezing up your cooler. The guys at Shift Technologies are way smarter than I am, but they do, if somebody needs a breakdown of this cold weather operation, they have a really lengthy answer that I found to how it works in cold temps, and it's going to be okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll put part numbers and torque specs down below. Thanks.